Today, America mourns, and as you all know, what happened in South Carolina. And with this gentleman passing, it brings about the pain and the sorrow of not just in the black community, but for Americans of all. I have a small story about this gentleman. From what I read and understand, the Senator Clementa Pickley, he was 41 years old, but he was also a Charleston church pastor. I'm kind of following up upon what a good president spoke about this man today. But he was the most kind, gentle man in the Senate. And I'm not just saying that now, said State Senator Katrina Shealy, a Republican from Lexington town. He was quiet until spoken to with that beautiful Barry White voice. His words were always well thought out, and not just his words. He always stopped by to ask how you were doing, and he'd shake your hand or pat you on the back. Ladies and gentlemen, when I was in Marine Corps, I served in South Carolina, and if there was ever a warm type of folks, it sure was down in SC. State Senator Marion Kipson, Democrat from Charleston, said Pickney went back to the AME church Wednesday after lawmakers finished their work for the day in Columbia. Kipson said that Pickley wanted to attend a meeting to plan a conference, and that meeting had ended, and some members stayed for a Bible study that the shooter participated in, Kipson said. Kipson said that he was the moral conscience of the General Assembly. This gentleman, ladies and gentlemen, is a colleague of all of us. He started in the House of Representatives at the age of 23. In fact, he was a page before that. He also helped support a bill that would pave the way for the South Carolina police officers to have body cameras, a proposal that gained momentum, and it was a bipartisan agreement that he was able to bring together because of the unfortunate shooting of a North Charleston black man who was shot and killed by a police officer. He was a moral leader of the Senate when he spoke, and people listened. He was a man with a booming voice and a notable presence, but always peaceful, calming presence, said Rutherford, the House Minority Leader. He did not want to pick fights, but he always did find a way, he said, to do it in a different way. He came from a family of preachers, several of them who fought for the civil rights, according to published reports. His whole family's been involved in this, and he was ordained at the age of 18. He has been a pastor at several churches, I'm not going to go through for you all folks, but he was real busy. Of his youth, he said this: I'm not set in my ways and not set in old ways. Just like slavery needed to die out, old ideas need to die out as well. Being young allows me to be open-minded, which is good that we have more younger and younger freshmen coming in this great institution. He was a member of the Senate Finance, Education, Banking, Corrections, and the Medical Affairs Committee. He had just earned his master's degree in public administration from the University of South Carolina. He leaves his wife, Jennifer, and two young daughters, Elena and Marlena. The South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus, on the death of this good Senator Pickley, said, it is with heavy hearts that we, the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus, mourn the death of our colleague, Senator Clementa Pickley. His life and the lives of 8 others were taken in an act of domestic terrorism. The horrific events of last evening may have shaken our resolve, but we are standing strong. We have lost a mighty statesman and a man of God who will long be remembered for his integrity and servant nature. Ladies and gentlemen, I did a homework today, and I had some folks from the staff help me with this, and I called some folks I know down south. And yeah, the church allowed this man to come in because the church is about the people. And that's what the House of Representatives is. And he was a state rep. And then when he got a little older, he went over to the Senate. And as a pastor, he has several churches under his belt. And as a House representative, like the words that we use up here, as he used in the church, he said, look, everybody comes in because this is the house of the people. I don't know what's going on with our country here. From all the foolishness that I see on the news every day, of the bills that we fight for every day in a good way for civil rights, we all do. But I guess this country is starting to forget that he's not just an African American. The key word, he's an American. This young man died talking about and living the life of his family as an 18-year-old civil rights leader. I watched a little bit today and I heard a little bit about how the president was really upset. But civil rights, human rights, is no one particular person of color's job. It is all of our job. And this man paid with something that he believed in by opening up the church and letting people come in to be part of the golden spoken word. I know we're supposed to separate church and state, but the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag says, under God. So I have a resolution here with both the minority and majority leader. I'll leave it up on the desk, or y'all can come and sign it. And sometimes it really hurts a lot of us who fight for the civil rights agenda to talk about things that we know are common sense. Be it, as this gentleman was fighting for, body cameras or racial profiling or whatever, all the other housing issues that we fight for. Thank you, sir. So I ask that as we go along, and maybe when we come back next year, that this good senator, who was initially a representative, our colleague, doesn't matter what state, don't matter what county, he's one of us because we are for one of him. Good Lord has called him and told him to come on home. I guess he's got another job up there. But here at home, he has left his wife and his two beautiful daughters. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for allowing me to speak on this gentleman, a man I have not seen. But as you all know, one of the biggest issues for me is the African American community. I've spoke about it in a whole lot of different ways. This is not about black folks. This is about Americans who are getting shot and hurt all through this country who just happen to be African American. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.